like Square as sort of being this, like very sort of, buttoned up and formal in their approach to this sort of thing. And like I just like just based on the time that we spend in that studio talking to these developers about what they're doing, like this is not a team of like a bunch of people sitting around in suits sort of stiffly typing away at their keyboards. I mean, like this is these are people who they work on the Final Fantasy development teams. Like they love this stuff, and a lot of them have been working on this series for years and years. So like they, just like any fan, like know some of the lore inside and out. They know the characters. They know what people are disappointed in. They know the story. I mean, and like even though some people aren't going on the record and saying like, boy, Final Fantasy 13 was sure a problem. Like there's an acknowledgement of like where the series has gone wrong, where it's gone right, and as individuals, everyone there just seems so passionate about what they're doing that it seems like all of the ingredients are there, and now we just have to see if everything comes out correctly.
If I may play devil's advocate,
okay.
I remember Tim Turry, former co-host of this very podcast.
Yeah.
When he came back years and years ago, I think it was before your time, Kim, on his preview trip of Final Fantasy 13-2, he had the same takeaway. And I'm not saying they're going to be the same game when they're released, but Tim's takeaway is very much, holy crap, when they listen to the feedback, that team is exactly on point. They know exactly what people were disappointed with Final Fantasy 13. And then 13-2 came out, which has its pros and cons. And so for me, it comes down to looking at, is the proof in the pudding, what is actually being presented on the game? And I'm still a little bit worried or skeptical about some of the storytelling in 15.
I'm kind of with you. I'm like the most optimistic I've ever been, but I am so like in the this place where I'm like, I don't want to get my hopes up too much
Mm-hmm.
as well. I just think because I've had so many times I've been like, they're getting it, and I think as much
They're
as
getting
fans we can attest to that, like, oh, and as you said, like, there's some stuff that we haven't seen enough of to really draw the conclusions, but I think this is the best shot I've seen them give it.
It's amazing the
Yeah.
push that they're
Yeah.
making behind this game. I mean, even like the way Tabata, it's interesting him talking about marketing and how you have to, in one of the interviews, he's talking about having to market team with confidence. Like every beat they put out, all that matters is just act confident. Be confident about what you're pushing out there. It's like the push and the financial risk that they're putting behind this game is crazy, and it's awesome to see a series that we all love getting this much momentum going to release.
Yep.
So I'm with you. I am in a cautiously optimistic phase. I would really want to love the hell out of this game.
I guess one thing I want to point out too is that, like, as a counterpoint to what you said about Tim's thing, is
Yeah.
that, like in my headline for that review was like, you know, changing all the little problems while the big one gets worse. And what's the big, the big one was the storytelling in that.
Yep.
But I think there's a difference in that. Like that was, well, different writers and stuff too. It also connected to a previous.
Is Nojima right? 13.2? I'm saying there might be more of a connection to the writing there. Because Nojima, I mean, in theory, they're still going off his script. There's a rough outline for 15.
Point.
Okay, go on.
Anyway, it's not even about the specific. It's not about the specific writer. It's about the scenario. About the fact that like 13.2 is going off from a previous story that was already a little bit like.
And so this is under the assumption that Versus 13 had nothing to do with 13. In a way.
No,
I'm saying you're saying 13 to 13 too, but this is 13 versus 13
no,
to 15.
okay,
So in
no,
theory, it's still a tree.
No. Well, I guess maybe you have a point there. I guess what I'm the point I want to make is, I guess, like at that point you can point to a lot of little things and say like for 13 you can say, oh, there's this thing people didn't like, there's this, and in aggregate that sounds like a lot, and then the one thing that you can't really speak to is the story, and that ended up being a big problem for 13.2. I'm not saying that cannot happen with 15, but I'm saying I feel like that they are able to show more now that demonstrates that they are going more in the right direction than they were able to with 13.2. So it's like you talk about. I mean, we're not going to know if the proof is in the pudding until the game comes out.
Yeah.
But I am seeing more on the character front, on the story front, on the world front, just like all of the thematic stuff. I'm seeing more that makes me feel like they get it than the heavy skepticism I had that they would be able to sort of pull the story of 13 out of the.
I mean, I'm more excited than I've ever been, and even after I played, I liked what I saw in the demo of episode to Sky, but I still wasn't like completely like, oh, I don't know. I was like more like this could go either way. And after having our visit, I feel like, oh, they are definitely going in a lot of directions that I think they should be going in, and I think are really interesting. Now to just see how it all comes together and if it can pull off, and that is something that like you just never know. Any game that we see is like that, though. We have that where it's like we see this one like an area, this looks great, and then that could be maybe one of the better parts mixed in. But like I said, everything that I've seen looks great to me, and I'm, like I said, more excited than I've ever been. I'm actually, as Joe said, I'm more excited for the story and characters because I didn't really know too much, and then we went in and kind of picked their brains, and everything sounds a lot more interesting to me than
What
it
if
ever did.
Kingsglaive is just royally disappointing? Is that going to color your expectations at all? Like, ooh.
I've never based like a movie on if I'm like gonna enjoy a product.
Well, in theory, it's like the same team.
And it's coming out beforehand. I mean, like,
I don't know.
Kingsley has the opportunity to get me more or less excited.
Absolutely.
About.
If anything, it would make me more. I just never have really cared about like the side aspect.
I hear you, but it's like, I mean, there it is a case of the same development floor. Like, it's like that little corner up to the side. There's a
Well, and
Kingsglaive
also, I mean, some of the characters that we have the biggest questions about in terms of their role in the main story are. We're going to learn
But I
a
feel
lot
like
more
that
about
is
Kingsley. We're going to learn more about Luna. We're going to learn more about Regis. So,
yeah, but I feel like that is just a small portion of like what this whole game is going to end up taking.
But I think it sets a tone, I think, for what they consider good storytelling.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm not putting like everything on Kingsglaive on whether or not I'm gonna, if I like Kingsglaive, I'm gonna not like it or like it. I think that's, one's a video game, one's a movie. They're very different beasts. I think one gives you more context and more information about the world you're about to step into, but I don't think that dictates whether or not I'm gonna like 15.
I'm not saying whether you're gonna like it or not. I'm saying that like if the story for Kingsglaive is super awesome and gets me really into like King Regis and Luna as characters, I'm going to be more excited than I am already.
That's what I'm saying. I would be more excited. I wouldn't be.
If it ends up like, well, okay, so I'm kind of weird. I actually enjoyed Advent Children, but like,
on what level?
We don't need to talk about
We'll
that.
talk
But all I'm saying is that like, if all of a sudden like, if the story, if those characters in Kingsglaive, if it feels like they're dropping the ball in terms of establishing that world, in terms of making those people interesting, I'm going to be more skeptical about how ultimately the story is going to turn out.
It's the part that is the biggest unknown for 15. I think this is a good barometer for how they're treating that.
Yeah.
We'll see. I'm just saying I'm not putting all that on just one movie.
All right. And Joe and I are saying we clearly are 1,000%.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating year for Final Fantasy. I really want to see what's going on.
I think that's what I think
out.
I'm interested to see how this game's going to do with people like, you know, us who have been fans of the series for a long time. I'm also curious for people who are just getting into it and also maybe coming from a more of like, even a, like just have played a bunch of Western RPGs and like, oh, like people have wrote in here, oh, I want to see what this is about. I'm liking what I'm seeing.
It's Square's craziest fantasy. How many people wrote it and said, I've never played Final Fantasy, but I think I want to try
Yeah,
this.
I just think it's going to be really interesting to see how, if they, you know, obviously it's hard to please everybody, as we all know, and we all look for different things in our RPGs, but I'm just curious just to see how it kind of, the overall sentiment ends up being.
Yeah, and that new audience is going to be super, like, I was thinking about this the other day. The people who were born, like, when, the people who are 20 years old right now were, like, 1 year old when Final Fantasy VII came out. Like, I have all these, I have memories of, like, you know, as an actual person. Playing this, no, I mean, you know, like old enough that I connected to like who I am, you know. It's like I was, you know, what, 16 or 17 or something when I was playing that, and like, and to think that like there are people for whom that game was just like, oh yeah, that came out before I was born, but I'm interested in this.
Yeah, a guy named Anthony wrote in on a similar theme and just asked if, because he says, let's see, let's see, where is he? But he talks about like how young he was when they announced Versus 13 versus when 15's coming out, and how he has so much nostalgia into the old marketing for Versus 13. And he asked, do we have nostalgia since it's been 10 years? Are you guys nostalgic about those early Versus 13 trailers?
A little bit. I remember very distinctly about how like the sitting and watching in that like auditorium when that trailer was shown, and having a conversation at the end of that E3 about like, we did like a list of like the games we're most excited about. Versus 13, beat 13. Oh,
because of the strength of the world, do you think?
Just based on they each just had super brief trailers, but there was something like so evocative about that initial trailer.
Sitting in the back of the car.
I don't even think the car was there. Was it?
No, I don't think it was.
The first trailer was just like Noctis, who back then had like way blue hair.
Doing the floaty sword thing, right?
Yeah, he was just sort of like sitting in a chair, and then sort of got up and like walked down some stairs, and a bunch of guys shot at him, and his swords came up, and like that was kind of it. But that was so much cooler than the 13 thing that they showed. That that ended up 13 at like E3 2005 or 6. God,
it's a big running start for this game to finally come out. What is the release date again? September 30th. All right, great. We'll find out then, everybody. Hey, I hope Final Fantasy fans learned something from this podcast. It wasn't just too much going like, who can say? I don't know. Yeah, I think
it's always hard when we go, because we have these questions too, and we ask them, and they're like, I can't, like, we're not ready to talk about that. And then sometimes like, no, but I need to know. People want to know.
You turn into Kermit.
But you know what I'm saying. It's, I wish I could tell you the answer, and I would love to, but I guess that's what they know how much that they want to deliver, and that would completely spoil the experience for for us. So I'm looking forward to September 30th.
It was a hell of a trip, and I think we shared as much as we can see what we could possibly share about that. I still have more I would say, but we'll probably trickle it out into Final Fantasy crap going in the future. Final Fantasy stuff. If you like this podcast, be sure to share it with a friend. If there's Final Fantasy fanatics out there, 15 fans that you know, you think they might get something out of it, we'd appreciate it if you send it their way. We also want to tease next week. It's almost like we wrapped up this Final Fantasy discussion. We should move on to a new cover story game. What? Yeah, so next week on the Informer Show, we will talk all about the next trip that we went on with a couple of mysterious guests. And reveal exactly what's going on with their next cover story. So
Exciting.
yeah, exciting times. So that's it for this episode of the Informer Show.
And thanks everyone for checking out our stuff, like the podcast and Final Fantasy features all this month.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of really nice comments. So thank you so much. And thanks for watching or listening to this episode of the Game Informer Show. Be sure to tune in next week. We'll have a new exciting episode waiting for you. Bye, everybody.
Fantasy 15. And I mean, like all road trips, there are little setbacks, so we're gonna get on with it. Anyways, here with me, I have intern Justice Nico playing for us, and our newest editor, Brian Shea.
Hey.
Hanson and Kyle will be in the back talking here in a minute.
Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Informer Show. I'm your host, Ben Hansen, joined by Matt Burns down at the end of the table. How you doing? Doing real good. We got Andrew Reiner. What up? Cool shirt, Reiner. Hey, thanks. Custom. Really? Yes, guys, we're Arcadia. Ben Reeves, everybody. Real good. We got a big show. Really, look at the rundown. It's looking pretty good. Great show today. It's going to be the best show. We have Dishonored 2 impressions. That is our new cover. We're going to be rolling out a month of content all about Dishonored 2. Reeves and Bertz and I went to France and saw this game in action, so we have much to talk about there. Then after that, there's a little game that Reiner's been reviewing called Uncharted 4. We can finally talk about that hunk of junk. We'll get into that. Big old piece of crap. Yes. And then some odds and ends after that. And then, at the tail end of the show, we are talking to Duncan Jones, the director of the new Warcraft movie. That's Reiner and I had that conversation. Turns out that guy knows games pretty well. He is a huge gamer. Also, David Bowie's son. We don't bring up at all. What? Would you have brought it up?
No.
Okay.
Well, I guess I didn't know, so...
Yeah,
I didn't know his son.
It's strange, yeah, he has a slight British accent. He was involved in Omicron or whatever. He had some connection back to that. But, a good chat with him about the direction he's taking that movie.
And games in general.
Yeah, games in general, what it's like to work with Blizzard, what their priorities were, everything like that. So, look forward to that interview. But for now, we should probably address what actually came out this week, considering this show is only focusing on the future. Sure. Battleborn came out on Tuesday, everybody.
Hey!
It's out! Huh. Bertz, did you try playing this thing?
I just got done with the prologue.
What'd you think?
It's a prologue.
It's a prologue.
It told me how to jump, it told me how to shoot. There was a weird Dell, funky Homo sapien animated music video to kick it all off, I think. I don't know if it was actually Dell or someone trying to be Dell.
Yeah,
Which character did you play as? Who did it start me as? The elf lady.
Yeah.
Mika.
Right. Yeah, I played the prologue also last night. I did not expect a 2D intro to that game. Like, Gearbox is so proud of their intros. Normally, they're pretty impressive. Like, Tales from the Borderlands had a 8-minute intro sequence in every, hour-long episode, it felt like. But I didn't expect, like, a weird 2D style. But then, even more confusing beyond that, it's like the cutscenes at the tail end of the prologue were also 2D, but not fully animated. Just
Yeah, it was like Hanna-Barbera, G.I. Joe kind of art style, and then their game turns on and it looks better, and then you're like, oh, this is what it's going to look like, and then it jumps back.
Yeah. So Matt Miller is reviewing that game for us right now. He doesn't seem too hot on it, but
No, yeah, that's the early take from him. Is there's a lot of yelling coming from his desk.
right, like yippee.
No,
Oh, okay.
Miller doesn't really make a lot of noise when he plays games, but he's chirping over there right now.
Okay.
Yeah, he seems a little upset.
It's interesting because I feel like Gearbox should have a bit of a fan base at this point.
They do.
Yeah, I think
Borderlands is huge.
It doesn't feel like that fan base is getting behind Battleborn yet, or maybe I just don't see it. The groundswell.
I don't know.
enthusiasm for it.
There is that fan base, but there's also so many people that are so pissed at Gearbox for every stumble they've had. Like, remember when we did that cover? There were so many comments that were like, "Oh, F you, Randy Pitchford, you con artist." So there's always those folks out there too that are just like waiting for them to fail. And so
People
Gears-
upset over Alien still.
oh yeah, for sure. That was a huge part of the cover story. People were so mad about Alien. Yeah,
I'm upset too.
for Aliens.
Brothers in Arms.
Oh, that they haven't brought it back.
Yeah, I love that series. It was cool.
Would you have accepted that weird Inglourious Bastards one?
Sure.
Okay.
I was
Anything will
curious.
do.
It looked weird.
It looked kind of fun. Yeah, I would have played it.
Reiner, I'm curious with your impressions of Battleborn, because remember when they came in for the cover story and we played multiplayer, you were really hot on it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it was still kind of gray boxed. It was early in development. 2 years out. Is that when we did it? Yeah, it was a long time ago, right?
A while ago, yeah.
But yeah, the idea was sound, and even the fiction I was behind. Like they're battling for the energy of the last star in the universe. I was like, that is wild. Like that's so far in the future, I can't even comprehend it. And then they told us about all these different species and races that are kind of sending out their warriors to battle for this thing. I was like, all right, hook, line, and sinker. You got me. Borderlands. You guys make great games. And then as it kind of went along, they didn't want to talk about it as like a MOBA, but it kind of was. There was a lot of confusion. They wanted everyone to start calling it a hero shooter, but everybody's like, that's kind of weird. And from there, it's just been kind of thin ice, right? Like it feels like we're just kind of moving across it very slowly, cautiously, and I have not fired it up yet. I tried to, but it gave me like character sync issues or something on Xbox One. I couldn't get in for like 2 hours.
Reiner's never-ending problem list with
Seriously, I break
Well,
games
there's
all the
no,
time.
you don't have to play on Xbox One. You're welcome to jump to different things, try them out.
I just finished Uncharted.
There we go. That's a good example. But I hope you try Battleborn's multiplayer.
Oh, I've
You're so
got it.
hot on it when it was in the office.
Yeah.
It's like,
No,
it's not
I'm
like
gonna
a
see
scene.
that. I'm seeing that through. I'm gonna have the full story arc of Reiner's enthusiasm. And we'll see where it goes, because right now I'm still excited to play it.
All right.
So we'll see if it crescendos and goes downhill from there, or if it stays high. But we'll see.
Yeah, for a game that like theoretically started out as, hey, League of Legends, and we'll turn it into a shooter, it feels really bizarre so far, just a little bit that I've played, about how much they're trying to kind of backdoor some story and structure in there. Like we talked about a couple weeks ago, it still just feels like this detached, obnoxious radio play that's playing in the background of all these missions. It's like, what is happening? What are these jokes? What are these characters?
Range, because the fiction sounds so cool.
The fiction doesn't.
On a
But
high
like,
level.
like you said, they didn't really embrace the MOBA community at all. They kind of steered away from that. And then people who don't play MOBAs, I don't think are interested in something that has even a hint of MOBA. So
Yeah, there's a weird. What is that weird like predetermined hatred for MOBAs that a lot of console players have? I don't get it personally. I'm not a big MOBA guy, but I also don't just cast aside a game if MOBA is mentioned.
Right. What is the game that's come closest, do you think, that you've gotten into to like a MOBA style format?
Real-time strategy games.
Okay.
Probably.
All right, that'll work. So we should talk about something we do know a lot about. Dishonored 2. So, yeah, myself, Reeves, Bertz, we flew out to Lyon, France. That's like the Arcane studio over there in France. They're leading development on this thing. And we got to see a lot of the game in action. Bertz, you just want to kind of like set the scene for what we saw, what was going on over there?
Well, yeah, we first got that tease, at E3 last year. That was the trailer that didn't look like there was any gameplay in it at all. But we learned that Emily Caldwin, who was the princess that you saved, and I guess depending on how you played, maybe put back on the throne of Dunwall at the end of the first game. It's 15 years advanced, and she's learned some of the tricks of the trade from her father, Corvo Attano, who we played as in the first game.
Sure.
So it's an interesting idea to kind of split your game in two, like they're doing. It's actually the same game whether you play as Emily or Corvo.
Same overall structure.
Yeah, the first mission you do play as Emily, but after that first mission in Dunwall where the coup happens, I'm presuming,
Yeah.
then you have a choice. Are you going to play as Corvo or as Emily?
As developers put it, I think Harvey at a certain point said, yeah, we're throwing a lot of work away here. Like, if people just play one, they're going to miss out on all these different set of abilities, because they don't just have one-for-one abilities.
No, not at all. They have completely different, even like down to the weapons. They have the same 3 weapons as, the previous game. You get the crossbow, the gun, and the sword, but they go in different directions based on like what master craftsmanship choice you make with that.
Yeah.
So they have different weapon end games. They have totally different power sets.
So it's interesting because there's these like blood fly swarm creatures.
Yeah.
We saw the Corvo demo where you could like possess those and then jump from that to rat. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I was thinking, actually I was thinking about playing as Emily. So if I play that game as Emily, I won't be able to do that. So I guess I'll have to play twice, which is cool for super fans, but it's just interesting. Like, it's going to be a completely, like you said, completely different experience, even though the levels are essentially the same.
Yeah, and if you think about the first game, you could also play essentially 2 different ways, right? You could play totally stealth, or you could play just like gonzo bloodletting, you've seen the YouTube videos. There's some phenomenal players that are just racking up kill counts at a ridiculous rate.
And so now, in theory, you kind of have 4 different playthroughs if you want to play high chaos,
almost
low
like
chaos.
there's so many different permutations, I guess, for this game now. But we know gamers, like, you'll see the telemetry data that you get back from a lot of these games, and most people don't even finish one playthrough. So it's going to be really interesting to see, like, where's the breakdown? Who's going to play as Corvo? Who's going to play as Emily? And then how many people actually dip in for a second go?
Yeah, there's more enthusiasm than I thought when we launched the cover. People being like, oh my god, I can't wait to play Corvo. He's like my favorite character. It's like, Corvo? He seems fine. Are you that fond of Corvo, or are you going to go straight for Emily?
I'm going to go with Emily because there's new powers, but I liked Corvo. Corvo was a cipher kind
awesome.
of.
Right.
Like, he didn't have a voice, so like a lot of people felt that he didn't have a personality in the first game.
Mm-hmm.
But like, you imbue your own personality as you're playing through a game, and I really like the character. He looks like a badass. His powers are awesome.
Yeah, it's mostly his look, I think.
Yeah.
It looks really cool, and I think the power is a good combo.
And I like that story. Like, who is this Lord Protector who is like basically the bodyguard for the Empress, and he shacks up with her, and the princess is his daughter.
Right.
Like, there's a cool backstory that I want to know about.
What do you think about having voice protagonist this time around?
I like it.
Yeah?
I do like it. I'm that's always been one of my criticisms of Zelda is I really, not obviously I don't want Cartoon Link voice, but I think you can do a lot more with a voice character.
Yeah. I wonder if some people in the community kind of like the silent protagonist, though. Like, it's not
Nobody likes
reading-
silent things.
Really? I think some people
The
like
whole thing of like, we want the player to have their own voice in this. And what is the player saying? Like, die! Oh, you're cheating!
You're saying it's not a literal thing where the players don't have to scream out and like
I know,
roleplay
but I mean,
as
it's
the
like,
character.
nobody's role-playing their damn characters.
But still, it can take you out of it. I totally get it. Like, I remember my favorite is the South Park interview I did with Trey Parker. I'll always think to him because he was talking about how much he hates it in RPGs when the characters talk. Because he's like, it's always just some douchebag. Like, somebody tells him about this horrible situation, and you have to listen to this idiot go, what am I gonna do? It's like, I
That's
wouldn't
just
say
bad
that.
writing.
Yeah, it could be. But, like, it's never too in your face with Dishonored 2. But there's just little throwaway lines, like objects will kind of trigger a little piece of dialogue about, like, oh, look at this item over here. This reminds me of this whole thing.
And they cast Corvo so well, like so many
Sure.
people were pissed when the new Thief came out and Stephen Russell wasn't voicing Garrett. And they're like, well, we'll take him.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, it's the old Star Thief. And then clearly a lot of people on the Dishonored team were a fan of Daredevil. You have Rosario Dawson is thing. Then we have, what's his name?
Vincent D'Onofrio.
There you
Kingpin.
as the villain.
Wilson
Yes,
Fisk.
there we go, Mr. Fisk.
Kingpin's in the game.
So he plays the Duke.
The Duke of Serkonos, who is set up from what we've seen to be the evil villain.
You think he's the real big bad? Is it just like a
I don't
temporary
know.
stop?
I don't know.
Okay.
They throw curveballs in their storytelling, and there might be something more at play. We know there's a civil war kind of brewing between the Empire of the Isles and with the North and the South. Dunwell's kind of in the middle of that, so.
One big question I have for you, and people who watched the trailer from E3 probably have the same question, is Corvo's mask, there was like a lot of steampunk in that.
Yeah.
And there was light steampunk throughout the world. This one looks like they're just going all in with like those Clockwork Knights and stuff like that.
Yeah, the trailer in particular is very steampunky because there's the whole Clockwork Mansion, which is a playable level in the game.
Yeah, we saw some early demos of that. Thing looks insane.
It looks absurd. It's like as the walls are moving, they even mentioned that you can slip behind the walls and find like whole new secret areas. So that trailer, like the second half of it, is super steampunky. And the Clockwork Knights, Clockwork Soldiers, I think they're called, they are going to be throughout the game. They're kind of the equivalent of tall boys this time around. And they have faces on the back of their heads, which you can see if you look carefully at that trailer. So they're really effed up.
In the trailer, I think there was ceramic, right?
Yeah, they changed it into wood.
Yeah.
Okay. But the actual world itself and this new city doesn't strike you as...
It feels grounded.
Yeah,
Or
it
like the original game then?
Yeah, it definitely feels like, it's more like a tropical or Mediterranean setting, like a combo of the two, because the island itself is really heavily forested. There's a lot of mountainous terrain, but then the city's kind of this crescent on the bay, and it really kind of strikes you like a Barcelona or, Greece, kind of one of those cities.
It's got interesting fantastical elements to it, though. It's like dropped in there, even though it does feel grounded. Like, a world with its own like culture, history, and art to it, which is nice. But then there's like this giant mountain on the side of the city, and it's got a cleft in the side, like the floors that kicks up dust all over the whole city. And so periodically, when we saw, you would run across these like dust storms.
Yeah, like the people that live there, like, have created these wind tunnels, kind of. They try to redirect it and use it as energy.
Yeah, which is cool that they think that far into like when they're building the world. It's like, hey, how would the people react when like this windstorm happens? Like maybe they try to harness it.
Go inside. If I was writing they all went inside.
Specifically think of 2016 with Gears of War 4's wind flares, and now Stardew 2 in this one section of the area, at least the Dust District specifically, where it's like, oh yeah, wind's gonna kick up every once in a while, and guards can't see. The air breaking wind. That's exactly what we have in mind. So that was actually, there's a lot to talk about with this game, and a lot to be excited about. The city I wasn't fully sold on. I think Dunwall is such a striking design, and yeah, the city, it's cool. They're emphasizing like vertical space a lot more, but I don't know if it really had that like gut punch of just wow looking around.
Well, I mean, we couldn't see much of it. Like this is one particular district we saw, the Dust District, which used to be kind of a blue-collar working town area by the mines, and the Duke of Serconis is like amped up like productivity, like double capacity. So like these silver mines are blowing all this silver dust into the people's lives, and they're basically like abandoning this district. So this is one of those empty space kind of feeling areas.
Gotcha.
Harvey Smith was really one of the co-directors. He was really adamant that not all the levels are going to look like this or feel like this or be like this.
Mm-hmm. There's going to be a lot more life in the streets compared to Dunwall. Things are a little bit
Dunwall
more
was, architecture-wise, very cool looking, very striking, but it was a dump because
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 of
of the plague. Yeah, there was a
Yeah,
plague wiping everybody out. They're painting the walls just flat white.
Yeah.
So it looked awful at times. And
Well-
that's what they wanted you to take away from it.
You'll get to see a next gen awful because the beginning and the ending of Dishonored 2 take place in Dunwall.
Oh, cool.
So it's going to be nice to revisit that. So the hardcore fans will get to see what next gen Dunwall looks like.
Although they did say that the rat plague's over, so there's not like people dying in the streets all over the place.
Fly
It's-
plague.
Yeah, they've
Blood flag.
like the
yeah.
flood district has been repaired, and it's a
Yeah.
financial center now.
Under Emily's rule, like things got a lot better. So it'll be like
There's a Costco.
better. Yeah, exactly.
Whole Foods.
Ruby Tuesdays.
Do you guys think that you're only going to be going to those two places? Just Karnaca and Dunwall?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was concept art for Tibia, that northern continent, but
I think it'd be. I mean, and then another point to make actually is you have a hub now, which is a ship.
yeah.
So theoretically, that hub could travel around the world. So we don't know for sure, but that was an interesting theory that I thought of too. Is like, I wonder if it's going to be like a kind of James Bond, like travel around the world, like.
We certainly didn't get
down
any
the
hint
bad
of
guys.
that, but yeah, your hub is a ship this time around. People were really curious, like how the whole thing's structured. It's gonna be similar to one. You want to speak a little bit to that, Birds, like the mission structure? And
Yeah, so in Dishonored, you always went back to the pub, right? You had your mission, and you could hang out with, the different characters that were in the Resistance, and that's where you would interact with Emily. And when you figure out, like, oh, my playthrough's really making this girl into a crazy person, she's drawing, like, murderous pictures with black crayons. The second game, they're putting you into a ship called the Dreadful Whale, which is like this old smuggler's vessel. It kind of looks like it's really kind of rusted and really creaky, makes a lot of noise when you're in there, but that's going to be your hub here. So Sokolov, the inventor, is with you for the ride this time, and you can interact with him, the ship captain, and other characters will come in and out of that space as the missions progress.
seems cool.
Yeah.
Seems like
Sounds
a cool
awesome.
space.
Yeah, it sounds very interesting.
Yeah. So Reeves kind of mentioned it. briefly when we first started talking about it, just about the idea of Corvo going into the Bloodfly, then going to the Rat, yada yada yada. That was the big takeaway from seeing this gameplay. Is just you needed to watch this thing in slow motion because there's so many crazy abilities, and those gameplay demos just like, wait, what just happened? Like there's so much opportunity, and Dinga Bakaba, the lead designer who's playing it, he has played it so much that he's just flying all over the place. It basically looked like one of those pro videos on YouTube where it's like, hold on a second, let's really go beat by beat and try to break down these new powers.
Yeah.
But it seemed to me like the most exciting new power is on Emily's side, at least that we've seen so far, and it's the Domino.
Oh yeah, the domino effect. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems ridiculously overpowered, but you can eventually get it to the point where you can link characters together, and then one character's state will impact the other.
Yeah, up to 4 characters, I think they said.
Okay.
So you can
Maybe
grab.
you need like flow charts to keep track of like all these people moving around.
It could be complicated. It really seems like
It's awesome.
It seems awesome though. So like, do you want to talk about the setup that you saw with the like firing range?
Oh yeah, so the Abbey of the Everyman, we're trying to execute this guy, and they're listing off all his, mistakes he's made and living his life the wrong way. And they walked up and they dominoed like 3 of the soldiers around and combined it with the guy who was going to get killed. So the bullet was theoretically going to go, like, if he dies, everybody else dies. But the guy that was firing the weapon had a helmet on, and the game was smart enough to go, well, the helmet's going to protect him. So it didn't work, but theoretically you could do stuff like that. Or another one of Emily's powers is doppelganger. You create like a simile of yourself, put it in the world, and you can link like 4 players to her and just go
And kill her, kill your little
doppelganger. And they all go.
Yeah, so it starts out.
awesome.
Yeah, so the doppelganger just starts out, and like guards will see it and chase after her, and she'll run away, and then they'll forget that you're there because they don't know you exist, obviously. But Dinga Bakaba at a certain point mentioned that you can like put like a spring razor wire on the doppelganger's back, and then she'll go running, and then guards will chase after her, and if they ever catch up with her, then of course they'll explode. So there's just a million little fun twists that you can do, and that's another big takeaway from the visit is like, it's so nice to go to a studio and realize these guys really get what made their game special, just having this crazy playground of abilities and opportunities, and it very much feels like they're just quadrupling down on the insane abilities and being as creative as possible in that sandbox.
And that's Arcane Studios in Lyon.
Yeah?
This game has to be up.
And the first one was made in Austin, though, right?
Well, it was made by both studios.
Oh, okay.
Right.
And then they just shifted most of it over to
Right.
Lyon for
When we
Leon's
visited,
the primary studio.
when we visited Austin, when we visited Austin for that first cover story, like it was super, super small. It was very much like the tip of the iceberg, and then a lot of the development was still taking place in Lyon. So
Gotcha.
now it's just Harvey Smith, the creative director, moved over there, and he's heading up production for Dishonored 2 in Lyon. Do you guys have any other abilities that really stood out for you?
There was a one. Oh, now I'm forgetting. The mesmerize one. That one. Where it's like guys are. It's kind of a stealth ability, but like you plant this like crazy crystal thing, and like guys are just drawn to it. They're basically mesmerized by it.
And it gets really creepy too because they're just in awe of this thing. And the way Harvey described it, I loved where he said that it has unspeakable horrors experiencing that, but they all kind of like it. So it's just like this weird vibe when they're under this
You can
trance.
just walk right by them, they won't notice you, or you can like stab them in the neck, you like kill them, and just like look at this thing. And you can combine that with the dominoes, like you link 4 dudes, and then you link one of those guys to like 4 more dudes. So you can have like 8 guys just doing that.
Do you think you have enough mana for that, or what?
I don't know. Yeah, it was interesting watching them play around with the powers, and you can tell that they haven't figured out all the combinations yet too. Doing the demo, it was like, actually, I wonder if this would work. And he would try something out, and it would work, and it was like, oh, that's crazy. Like they were surprising themselves, even while we were playing, which was cool to see.
It's fun. Oh, go ahead.
One of the cool things that you mentioned, like you can use that ability as a stealth tool or as a tool to just murder a bunch of guys when they're not paying attention. That they really doubled down on that kind of concept. One of the criticisms from the first game was, well, it's really fun to play as this crazy knife-wielding monster, but when I'm playing stealth, I feel like I only have a couple abilities that I'm really using. So they've created skill trees kind of that go in more directions for all the abilities this time, and a lot of them can be manipulated to use in a stealth practice.
Yeah, so hopefully still.
Yeah.
Did we talk about far reach at all? No, because that was the other one that you saw in the demo that we did last year, where she's kind of like using her smoke like power to dodge out, and just kind of like, it looks like she's teleporting, but she's really just sort of like moving there really fast. So if guys see her,
It's more like a hand that can pick up things,
Yeah,
like just kind of grabbing it.
just her FaceTime syndrome or something.
Yeah, sure, something like that.
But she can,
Smoking though, right? It's like,
yeah,
yeah.
but she can use that to like grab other things, like things out of the air, or grab enemies and like point to her as well. So it's not just one way.
Right.
Yeah, and those are all unlocks that you can eventually
Right.
get to it.
It was interesting going back before the trip and researching Dishonored 1 again. First of all, being reminded, like, it's a really cool game.
Yeah,
In retrospect,
so-
especially, it stands out so much.
That was my game of the year that year.
Yeah, I remember you
It
really
was a
loving
good
it.
year, but that was my favorite.
It was an amazing year.
Was that Mass Effect 2 that year? I think.
No, that was XCOM,
Oh, XCOM.
Mass Effect 3,
Mass Effect 3.
2012.
Yep. Journey was that year.
Just one of the huge ones.
But, anyways, looking back at our coverage, we had like a spoiled, and we also talked about like, oh, why is one of our favorite games of the year? And in both those videos that we shot, everyone's like, I bet the Outsider's gonna be the big villain in Dishonored 2. That's like everyone's prediction. It's like, oh, that Outsider. You want to just explain what we saw from the Outsider in Dishonored 2 so far?
Yeah, well, I actually talked to Harvey a little bit about that character because, you know, like one of the cool things about the game was the mystery of like he's kind of the G-Man for, you know, like the Half-Life G-Man in this world. And a lot of people thought he was a Lokiest trickster, right? And Harvey was like, no, a lot of people are misinterpreting that. This guy's been trapped in this void for a long time. And he's giving people these powers thinking they're going to do good things, and they're constantly surprising him by what they do. So they've kind of peeled away some of that trickster kind of vibe, I guess.
Okay.
But we're going to spend more time in the void with him this time. They've done a lot of work, you know, building up that part of the game. They recast the character. It's no longer Billy Lush, it's Robin Lord Taylor from Gotham.
Yeah, he's a penguin, which I don't watch that show, but everybody says that he's like the highlight of that show. It's pretty creepy.
Probably the best part of the show, yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to learn some new things, Harvey said, but there's also still going to be stuff that you're just like, what's going on?
Right. Also, related to that a little bit, is interesting to hear them decide like which, because there's so many options. In the first Dishonored, what is canon going into this one? And apparently the canon version of the first one is Sparing Dog. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Well,
how that works?
They felt like the most of the interesting choices were the non-lethal ones. So obviously Emily lives. You know, Dodd is going to live, who was the guy who killed Jessamine in the first game, and
Right.
Corvo like spares the man who killed his love interest. You know, like some interesting dynamics at play there. So that's kind of where they're going with this game, is that the non-lethal decisions that you made in that first game is what's going to be canon.
Whichever one was more interesting, I guess,
Yeah.
from a storytelling perspective, which is probably the way to go. One other thing before we move on, some of the design in this game, we talked about, you know, steampunky nature and whatnot. Some of the designs are so cool. Like during the demo, there's a moment where one of the guys at Bethesda, who's at the studio as well, he just started laughing when he saw this design because it's so cool. But there is a typewriter in Dishonored 2. Do you remember this typewriter? It's super tall looking. It's just like this quick thing in the demo that just ran by. But it looks so awesome. Where there's this one character, Krin Jindosh, I guess is his name.
Kieran Jindosh,
There
yeah.
we go. Where he has a pipe like built into his hand.
Oh,
So he's
yeah.
like smoking a pipe that's like part of his hand itself.
His thumb or something.
Yeah.
It's built out of whalebone.
There we go. Like the stylized, crazy aspects of Dishonored 1. I'm very happy to see come back.
That's a
with this.
crazy idea to me, and I'm almost surprised that some pirate somewhere hasn't done that. Like, I don't know, don't you think?
Why would a pirate do that? Like a real world pirate?
Yeah, I don't know. If like some dude lost his hand, why wouldn't you make something functional out of it?
A big bite for a hand?
Yes,
Is that what you do when you lost your
I
hand?
think it's a cool idea.
Like, how can I use this to a smoking advantage?
I would make an Iron Man hand.
I could put a hook on here to open doors and do practical things, or I could smoke it.
Yeah,
I guess I'll smoke it.
There we go.
I really care about smoking. But I'm curious about this typewriter because I don't remember. How would you describe it?
I would
It's a
describe it-
crazy looking typewriter.
It's like tall and spiky and just exaggerated. Imagine you take a cool looking steampunky typewriter and then stretch it out vertically and kind of fan it out at the top. Basically, it's the Game of Thrones throne turned into a typewriter. That's how I vaguely remember this thing.
But you're right, the art is just phenomenal in this game, and we got to meet some of the artists like Sergei Kolosov, I think is his name, who covers for us.
Yeah, Sebastian
Baton,
art director.
Like, you know, people were worried that Victor Antonov not working as closely with the team this time. The art might take a hit. I seriously
He's
don't
the
think.
overlord.
Yeah,
overseeing all
he's the creative director,
right?
basically.
Sebastian was the guy in the first one. Anyway, so
He was the art director
Yeah,
on the first one.
he's still
Anyway.
here, so like the art vision is still the same in a
Right.
lot of ways.
When
And it was
was-
interesting because I was talking to him and he was saying that, you know, usually you see concept art for a game and it's like wildly different than what the game actually looks like. What their vision or what they're trying to do is create this really cool art and then create this game that actually kind of looks like this
Yeah, it's
concept.
very painterly. Yeah,
So-
and that's why they had to build their own engine, basically.
Yeah, it's confusing because it's called the Void Engine, so they had to basically recreate the way that Dishonored 1 felt going into this thing.
Yeah, and they're using like a kernel, I guess, like 25% or something like that of the id tech is still there. That's what they use as their platform, but they built everything on top of it.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, it's really interesting just going on the first Dishonored cover story trip back in 2011, when so much of that trip was spent with the guys at Arcane explaining, like, we kind of like this immersive first-person genre, really like this type of thing, and now this time around, just to see them be like, yeah, the cool parts of Dishonored 1, it's just more of that. I was like, all right, that sounds great. I think I'm on board. But we have interviews with the art director, blow out to the powers, more like character profiles and whatnot, with Corvo and Emily coming up on the site.
Profile on the Dust District, even.
Well, there we go. It's GameInformer.com/Dishonored2, so stay tuned throughout the month to learn a lot more than we just said about Dishonored 2.
And if you haven't played the game yet, check out the new definitive edition they released on Xbox One and PS4.
Yeah.
You don't have to go back, hook up your old systems, like it's on the new machines.
Yeah.
With all the DLC, which was actually really good.
Yeah, that's right. A lot of people liked it a lot. Cool. All right, the game's coming out November 11th.
November 11th, just
There
like
we go.
Skyrim style.
The exact same Skyrim date, of course. It's Bethesda's lucky date. They're open. They're still doing 11. Yeah, that's right. Yep,
It's just
constantly.
keep running with it. They don't want to get rid of all that marketing material.
All right, that's Dishonored 2.
Sounds great.
Let's move on to something that's coming out next week.
Yes.
Uncharted 4 writer.
Thief's End.
I have not talked to you about this.
Okay. Well, you mocked me in the office, like, don't you come walking around here talking about how great this game is that you're playing, and I was like, well, you're gonna have to look at my review.
I
You have to talk to me
maybe
about
won't
the
have
podcast.
to. I haven't seen your review. I don't know how this thing's going to end up, but Joe was commenting on the fact that when you were reviewing a good game or like a high-profile game, you do like to wander in the office and you do a lot of like, oh man, you would not believe
I
it,
just turned into
guys.
Kramer from Seinfeld.
It's true. That's exactly what it's like. Except with
in.
more finger snaps.
Looking for bread.
Hey, just wait for people to go like, please tell us, Lord Reiner, tell us about this game.
No.
So now is your chance, Lord Reiner. Tell us about this game.
So Uncharted 4: A Thief's End is the last Naughty Dog developed Uncharted game. The
Okay.
final adventure for
Very
Nathan
curious
Drake.
about
They've been
that part.
very upfront about that the whole time.
Uh-huh.
So that, just knowing that going into it, and the fact that the game does feel like closure all the way through, everything kind of has this tone to it. The narrative is very much like a ticking time bomb. Like, you're just kind of thinking the whole time, like, what's going to happen? Is something crazy going to happen? When is the twist coming? What's the big thing that's going to happen? And that just adds an immediate sense of tension to this whole narrative, which already is just kind of crazy on its own.
I never thought about that, but I am excited about that because it's always a bummer to watch a show and be like, well, they're not going to do anything interesting with these characters because they just have to keep this going forever. But like, it's the last season. Basically, it's like the last season of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Even more so than now, everything's game on. It's going to get insane, and it has that tension of anything can happen.
I was like, well, you got Indiana Jones out there running around at 73 years old, finding crystal skulls and crazy MacGuffins that don't make any sense. It's nice to see a developer go, it's time. We've spent a lot of time with this character. We've done a lot of stuff, with him and found all these things. Let's wrap up this arc. Let's have it have a very distinct beginning, middle, and end. And they deliver that. Like,
So
they
there's no
have.
Shia LaBeouf in this one?
There isn't. There is it has a nice arc to it from start to finish. Obviously, some of the stuff doesn't, like the treasure hunt doesn't connect in any way. He's going after Captain Avery's treasure this time.
Yeah,
It's not Sir Francis Drake, stuff like that. This is a very new hunt for him. It has, starts in Uncharted 4 and ends in Uncharted 4.
Anatolia. What's the crazy city called? Libertalia. Okay.
Do you feel like you get a sense that Nate has aged quite a bit? Like, does he ever say I get too old for this, or just like kind of like?
Please tell me he does. Yeah, I mean,
Just a sense that like, I'm not as good at this as I used to be. Like,
you see that he has transitioned from being kind of this crazy, out of control treasure hunter to being a loving husband and wanting to adapt to this different life for his wife, Elena, who's a journalist, photojournalist, all that still. But
You know, that famous painting you saw in the trailers that they switched. That was from Assassin's Creed.
Right.
There's a moment where he's staring at that, and he just kind of zones out, and he's lost. And Elena's trying to talk to him, and he's very much still in that world.
This still feels a lot like Uncharted 3 for me. You know, talking about the closure of Uncharted 4, it feels like also they were going for closure with Uncharted 3 and wrapping up that story and the tension between Elena wanting to stay at home, yada yada yada. Like, oh, is this marriage going to work out? It doesn't feel like a retread of those similar themes.
No, not at all. And the big thing, the big hook is Sam, his brother, who you believe is dead, is back.
Well, you don't believe.
He's
I've always believed
he's back, and you need to help him. Like, and you need to.
He needs a murder.
Oh man, there's so much murder in this game. But Nathan needs to help him, and that means betraying this whole new life that he has to go out and help Sam. I don't want to give away too much.
Yeah, no,
that's
seriously,
kind of the general build-up.
I want to know how Sam is as a character.
Sam's great.
Twisted, weird.
So Nolan North again is Nathan Drake, and then Troy Baker, the great Troy Baker, is Sam Drake. And wow, they both do a great job. The chemistry they have is fantastic.
What if they did?
It is such a great script.
It's just assumed they're going to do a good job.
This is like Pacino and De Niro.
I don't know how much you hang on them or how much it's like Naughty Dog and the writers Josh and Neil, but it is just a fun script. It has a lot of heart, just a ton of emotion to it. Very much a blending and amalgamation of Uncharted and The Last of Us in terms of the emotional resonance it has and the moments you have in the world with the character where you're trying to figure things out and have an understanding, and just those little breaks from the action where they're just kind of talking and you're getting to know them a little better. And then just in gameplay too, you know, much like Ellie from Last of Us, Sam is out there helping you do things like he can grab onto enemies, go up and punch them, or if he's holding them, you can shoot them in the heart, just put them down right there. He's like, whoa, you know.
How's the gunplay in general? Because I remember that's always been a critique of the Uncharted series.
Yeah, that's my least favorite, or probably second.
There we go. I remember like on the cover story trip asking like the lead gameplay designer, like, what are you guys doing to address gunplay issues? And he's like, well, it's the same gunplay you've always loved from the Uncharted series.
Right.
Okay, that's not making me feel any better.
So
Not
it
that
is
it's terrible, but
It's more pop and shoot. They've added more in the kind of combat arenas. It's not just like wooden crates set up everywhere. There's more verticality to it, so there'll be like cliffs you can scale, ropes you can swing, drop down on enemies. So there's more variety in your actions within the combat. But the core gunplay is very much the same, where it's you got your two weapons, pop and shoot. It still feels a little loose in my opinion. I know you can kind of adjust that if you want.
Headshots, still need a couple of them to take a guy down.
No, headshots usually drop them. It depends on if a heavy's coming in with a helmet. You got to knock the helmet off. They have like red bandanas on where it's just like hit zone, and you shoot them there, and then you put them down. But yeah, it's feels more like Uncharted, and that's my kind of the one big complaint I have. And it's not really a complaint. Is this feels like the fourth time through Uncharted, like in terms of the platforming. You know, Nathan leaping, and then he lands on a bridge. Yeah, and then it breaks. You're like, the first time in Uncharted, you're like, whoa, that bridge broke. What do I gotta do? I gotta hit the button to hang on. And now you're just like, yeah, okay. And it doesn't have.
I saw that coming.
Yeah, and I mean, the world is made of balsa wood and paper mache, right? Everything's falling apart. It looks stunning. Like, it is the best looking game I've seen. Those artists at Naughty Dog. Ever. It is freaking crazy.
bury the lead here, Reiner.
Right,
All right.
yeah. It is absolutely nuts how much detail's in this. Little things like when Nathan gets worked up, like veins pop out, you know, of his arm. Otherwise, you know, if he's just standing around, they kind of go back.
Well, that's what makes for a fun game, yeah.
Wrinkles on his face, just if he's in the water, his hair changes, you know, from being wet and dry. Little details like that, but then the big, huge set piece moments of you go into a new zone and it's just like, oh my god, look at the detail here. Look how stunning this looks. And it's not just they're going for realism, but it's just kind of that I've never seen this place in my life before, yet it looks familiar. You know, it has like that kind of stunning realism to it.
How are the set pieces in this one? Because I mean, Uncharted 2 had that awesome train sequence. There's such like great stuff from the previous entries, but I haven't seen anything from 4 yet.
Yeah, there's
really blown
nothing that touches the train falling off the cliff in Uncharted 2, the cargo plane from 3, or even the capsizing boat with water filling from 3. Nothing that touches those. You have seen the E3 demo they did with the riding the bike with Sam, and it's just crazy.
Yeah, for sure. That's the most impressive thing I've seen so far.
But I don't think since you have so much control of that, and it's more in an open world setting. That's another point to get to here in a little bit. Is it doesn't feel as cinematic. It feels more kind of like a gameplay thing. It doesn't have that kind of big feel to it. I would say the game as a whole has more big moments that happen, but they're kind of smaller things. There isn't that one moment you go, oh my god, did you see the train? There's nothing in this game that'll be like, yeah, there's that one. It's just a lot of little things in there. But they have big payoffs.
Let's say emotionally, are there train moments, something of that scale, where the people are going to be talking about this thing?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in the story. Andy Mack is one of the harshest critics in terms of narrative of anything. Like, he doesn't watch movies anymore because he thinks they're dumb or something. But yeah, he was texting me a lot about the story. Like, holy crap, this is good. And it's very much, I mean, the writer of The Last of Us. It does have a feel of The Last of Us. They're not mimicking or copying The Last of Us, but there is a lot of that same drama and real care given to making these characters take on screen and making you want to know more about them or question what they're doing. Just giving them some weight.
So obviously, Amy Hennig, who wrote the last 3, is not here.
Right.
How does it feel different? Does it feel different?
It does, yeah. Like I said, I think it feels like The Last of Us is kind of tied with it a little bit, where you can see some of that direction, some of that. I can't go into the narrative arcs that they're going for, but some of those hooks.
The lightheartedness, maybe that.
There's plenty of that while they're exploring, and the banter's pretty good. Like, Nathan is still Nathan. He's firing off one-liners all the time. Even like as he's about to die, he says something funny. There's stuff like that that's going on. Like you said, the no thing. A lot of that. It's classic, but there's a lot of stuff like that. But it still feels like Uncharted at heart. And the big thing that I was really surprised with was Marco Polo's. Was that Uncharted 2 where you're going after Marco Polo's lost fleet? And that was kind of a really kind of fun arc that you were following, but then it gave way to like really weird magical tree stuff and
that's always
science and mystery.
That's my favorite.
I really want to know how supernatural this thing gets.
So this game, the treasure hunt is awesome, and one of the best characters in the game is Captain Avery, who is dead, and you only learn about through pieces of paper and riddles and notes and what he's done in the world. You get to see what he's done and how the great lengths he's gone to protect his treasure and what that did to him. Getting this treasure, what that did to this guy.
I'm guessing it has some parallels to what it could possibly do to the Drake brothers.
No.
Oh, okay, never mind.
What are you doing? But it is very much just a great kind of in the vein of the Indiana Jones. It's like, I want to see what that is. I want to see what that thing does.
But the final boss isn't a ghost version of Avery flying around the realm.
This is a very grounded story.
More grounded.
I'll say that history. Oh yeah, way more grounded than.
I actually kind of like that. Me too. I don't know if I was totally in love with it. There was always that like last tenth of the game that like, oh, we're gonna turn it on its head. Now there's something weird mystical.
Yeah, that always bummed me out.
Was there anything that really surprised you going into this that you didn't expect based on what we know about it?
Yeah, there's a lot, and that's all I can really say to that. Okay. There's some really cool places you go, and the puzzles are really good. Like the actual environment puzzles, none of them are like repeated. There's a lot of bad block puzzles. I'll say that much. Like, well, not bad, but like really archaic and designed box puzzles where you got to push them to get up on the ledges. I don't know what they were doing with that. That felt like almost like a throwback to yesteryear. Like, hey, remember these? But they just kept doing them.
Okay.
But yeah, there is a lot of surprises in the narrative, a lot of surprises in the environments and kind of what you end up doing. And it's all, the artistry and all of it is just outstanding. Like every environment you go in, I texted Andy, I was like, I can't believe how many art assets they created in this game. Like, it just seems like there must have been a million artists making a million things for this. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't even know how much this game costs. If there's a chance it could be profitable, it's just a gargantuan effort by Naughty Dog, and they pulled it off. I think it's the best Uncharted yet.
Oh wow, okay.
The narrative really sells it, but that place in time, like when Uncharted 2 came out and things were blowing up for the first time, you're like, this is crazy. That is lost. That magic's gone.
Okay.
So it is not as mind-blowing as it was was back in the day, but it is the best of that series, but it is still ringing that same bell. It's still Uncharted over and over and over.
So beforehand, what was your ranking in the Uncharted series? Like, what was your number one Uncharted?
2.
So in 2, 3, 1.
Hands down. 2. Yeah, probably 2, 3,
2, 3 Golden Abyss 1.
1 and 3. I had some issues with, but
Okay.
2 was I just thought was just from start to finish. Starting with that train, I was like, wow, this game is ridiculously good.
Yeah. So please compare the emotional weight and the emotional gravitas in the campaign versus. Please tell me the dumbest thing that you saw happen in the multiplayer mode.
In Uncharted's multiplayer,
Yeah.
they have mystical stuff going on like you wouldn't believe. The multiplayer is really fun, by the way.
Oh, really? Okay.
But you're running around and all of a sudden it's like someone resurrects this big demon tower or something that's shooting out like blue and red spirits depending on what team it is.
Love it.
And they're just like seeking out enemies and killing them, like picking away at their health, and I'm like, that's weird. And then there's like another woman darting around that's like on fire, like she's like a speedy Flash with fire.
Okay. And then I saw a gif of like Nathan Drake like making it rain with a bunch of dollar bills
Yeah,
and
that's
stuff.
probably a gif. Yeah, but there's unlockable. There's a lot of unlockables. So there's good loops in the leveling and the rewards that you get. That you go into a shop, buy a pack, basically a pack of cards, and get different stuff. So my Nathan's wearing like 90s Ray-Bans. He just looks like a complete douchebag.
My Nathan TM.
But
It's like a Far Cry protagonist.
yeah, he just looks terrible. But so that's kind of fun. The core combat is using the same mechanics from single player. So that
You swing around?
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds great.
It was funny. I was in an environment or in a multiplayer match, and I'm on the rope. I'm like, cool, there's a guy down there. I'm gonna smash him. I smashed down his head, and it was, I don't want to give up the name, but it was Dan Reichert. So I immediately took out my cell phone. I was like, hey Dan, how you doing? He's like, nope, don't see you here.
So you think it's gonna have a similar impact of like Last of Us in terms of multiplayer mode, where everybody's obsessed with the campaign, the story, but every once in a while people are like, by the way, that multiplayer mode is super fun. People don't talk about it enough.
Yeah, the Uncharted 2 and 3, I think.
It's that fan base, yeah.
They had a pretty big fan base, so I'd say this is a pretty nice little evolution from those games.
Okay.
So single player is where you want to start and hang your hat. Like that is amazing. Whereas Call of Duty is kind of the other way, right? Like a lot of people play multiplayer first, then play the single player first, and then I mean, multiplayer is not a bad avenue to play. But if you haven't, check it out. You might really dig it.
You've been describing a 10 out of 10 game.
A 9.5 out of 10.
Okay, was there anything that held you back?
Yeah, I think just like I said, the magic of most of the gameplay of the platforming and the gunplay just not kind of feeling like the fourth time through.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that really kind of hurts it a little bit. And they didn't find new ways to really kind of elevate that to those same levels. But again, it's fun. It's really fun, and they did a really good job with it, and it's beautiful, and it's all interesting. But it's not quite where Uncharted 2 was when that was a 10 game. But 9.5, dear God, please. If you want to play it, it's my favorite game of the year. Like,
Yeah.
Naughty Dog knocked it out of the park. Like,
It's almost like it's a great contender for a game club discussion coming up on this podcast. Do you think 2 episodes or 3 episodes? Like, how much can we break that thing down?
Do people like it when we give away how long a game is?
I don't know. Is it? I mean, it's
That cannot be considered a spoiler.
Okay, comparable to the other ones.
But I know a lot of people.
It's on the cover of Entertainment Weekly this week.
Don't talk about it.
I've gotten complaints when I said how many chapters were in something, so I was very careful not saying that.
All right, close your ears if you don't want to hear how long Uncharted 4 is right now, people.
I would say it's between 12 and like 14 hours.
Okay. You think 3 episodes is warranted for
think
Game
so.
Club?
2 to 3. Yeah.
2 to 3. All right, we'll figure it out.
Clean breaks.
You could probably do it pretty cleanly in 2 acts, actually, now that I think about it.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay, well, that's maybe the better division point then. So that is coming up on May 26th.
Oh, that's cool. You're actually doing that.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be the first episode of our Game Club for that. So awesome. You might want to wait and play right before that if you can.
See what's sorry. I just.
Oh, Ryan. God, it's going to be so cool.
I'll still leave my review and we'll start doing this.
But I do want to talk on this podcast about something that's related to what Bert's brought up, which is Amy Hennig. Used to work on Uncharted, now she's working on a third-person Star Wars game. We learned on Wednesday another team working on a third-person Star Wars game is Titanfall developer Respawn. Ryan, you seem to have a lot of opinions about this.
More Star Wars equals Ryder being happier. So, I mean, it's awesome. I mean, EA did something quickly, and that's what we wanted. You know, when Battlefront came out, and it was just kind of, what's next? There's nothing. There's all these movies coming up. There's nothing tied to it. That's fine.
History shows that doesn't work usually. I like it when
Don't
they
do
do their
the
own
movie
thing.
game, but do your own thing in the new universe. Yeah, why not?
Okay.
You don't have to have Finn or Rey or Poe. Do some other characters in that timeline.
Would you expect that, like, even Star Wars stories jumping around the timeline so much in the film world, you expected 2 third-person games to be set in that Force Awakens new trilogy timeline?
No, that's kind of crazy. But I wonder when they're coming out. Obviously, everybody's like, "Oh man, Visceral's in trouble because Respawn's doing it." It's like, well, you're probably gonna play one year, and then another maybe 2 years later, there might be like Battlefront 2 before that.
Yeah, I'm confused about the timeline because we've heard about, was it Stig? What's his last name?
Edmondson.
There we go. So he was the lead on God of War 3, and he's been over at Respawn for a little while. Now we find out he's working on the Star Wars game. But they said in a blog post on Wednesday that it was still a relatively small team, and they're hiring. It's probably because they did this announcement.
That's why they did the announcement completely.
Do you think he was working on this game the whole time?
No.
So something else got lost along the way, and I was like, hey, Star Wars, who can say no
I
to
don't
that?
think it's necessarily something that's lost. Like, like these deals come together in their own ways. And they go through a lot of meetings. Disney's great at meetings.
Oh, man.
You have to get the screenshots approved
Yeah.
by like 14 committees. So I think it's a pretty natural evolution.
So we have DICE working on Battlefront. You
Yeah.
assume there would be more Battlefront, like Battlefront 2 or something at some
yeah.
point. We got Visceral, Amy Hennig's team working on something. We believe it's, from the way they teased, it's Han Solo or something.
That's
along
your
those
theory
lines.
about it.
There's a Millennium Falcon all over the place.
Yeah,
This is
and
one I'm excited
Boba
for,
Fett
for
and
Yeah.
Han Solo.
Yeah.
I put a story up of their tweets about it. I'll look into their office too. It looks like that's
How
what
much
they're
would you
doing.
bet that it's a Han Solo game?
A lunch. I'm not rich, man.
That's not true. I've seen your house. The fanciest house in Minnesota.
And then we have Respawn working on who knows what, and then BioWare also still doing nights, and maybe they'll do other stuff too. I mean, that's a lot of.
It'd be kind of cool.
Probably get 3 more Lego Star Wars games.
Yeah, and other
stuff.
outside companies doing stuff like. They're all in, and that's a good thing. So I don't know how anybody could be disappointed in that. We're still getting Titanfall. They're building second teams for a lot of this
Yeah.
stuff. Visceral's not doing another Battlefield cop game. That's a great thing.
We don't know that yet.
Oh, that's
True. Hardline
boy,
2,
please
baby.
don't.
Hold on.
I agree.
Mertz, I'm curious, since you're at Respawn, I was there too, back for the Titanfall 1 cover story. You kind of hinted at it. I want to get your take on, the studio head Vince Impala going from the Call of Duty controversy and that whole saga to now dealing with one of the trickiest IPs in the world.
Oh yeah,
Star
the
Wars.
suits that are just gonna shoot down everything right and left.
How is that going to work?
I don't know. I mean, maybe Vince is a pit bull and he'll fight for what he believes in. But maybe his dynamic changes when he's working on a license. Call of Duty was his.
I see, so it's just overly protective, but just the idea of getting to work on Star Wars, like, okay, I'll bend a little bit. For the
Yeah,
minute
maybe.
that
I mean,
Star
you don't have a
Wars.
choice. Ask J.J. Abrams. It sounds like they bend you to their will. They're the Sith.
I would totally be up for like another Rogue Squadron style or even X-Wing.
Oh, you like
X-Wing?
really?
Like X-Wing would be the best.
Do you think there's any chance that could be what Respawn's working on? That kind
No,
of
they said it's a third person.
Third-person action adventure.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
I guess
if you're listening.
They didn't
Somebody
say that
else
it
working
wasn't
on
a ship. Remember when they made that free-to-play X-Wing Star Wars game? Like, they announced it maybe 2 years ago, and then they just quietly canceled it. Remember this?
Who was working on it?
I don't know who the hell it was, but they're making a free-to-play space combat
that's
game.
right.
Remember that weird thing?
Yeah, they even had trailers and all that stuff up.
Yeah, it didn't look
Disappeared.
great.
It launched and disappeared, I think.
Yeah, but they really, I know VR isn't lighting up the sales charts or the attention charts, but it seems like Lucas is vaguely interested in VR stuff. They made a couple VR experiences, Battlefront VR is coming to PlayStation VR. They should just make a new VR X-Wing game, right? It's right there.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, or just do a X-Wing game without VR and let me play it however I want.
Just remakes it with new graphics. It was such a great game.
Yeah.
The mission pacing, the challenges.
Yeah.
Add multiplayer, and we're there.
Oh, hey, you also have flying around in space now in Call of Duty. Infinite Warfare was also debuted on Monday. It was a big week for space. It's great, I guess.
It's fantastic.
You're excited for it?
Everything
Oh, yeah.
is space now. I really hope that tomorrow when Battlefield's announced, it's not space. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah. So, Ryder, you're super excited for sci-fi.
Yeah,
Call of
like,
Duty.
when Advanced Warfare came out, and they're like, we're going to the future, and I was like, all right, let's do it. And they were like, 30 years. I was like, oh.
We have a grounded version of the future.
Yeah.
It's another way of saying, like, not that exciting version of a future.
Yeah.
Although it does kind of look,
Infinite Warfare.
Yeah, I mean, it ends with battleships in space, like Star Destroyers and dogfights up there. Yeah, that looks crazy. I'm all about that.
Do you think Bobby Kotick just has like a lot of stock in exoskeleton companies or something? Like, because all these Call of Duty games now, it's like, hey, exoskeleton, we're in the future, man. You can't stop it.
It's all a plan to keep him alive longer. Like when he's like super old, he'll have like all this stuff he needs.
Right, just floating in the Star
Secretly
Wars
funding,
tank.
yeah.
Okay, I think that's how Bobby works.
Exoskeletons.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kind of shocked that they keep going though. Like, where do you go from here? It seems like there's no looking back for them. It's just like we gotta.
I think that's where you have to go. I mean, I think Advanced Warfare was successful enough. It's probably going to be Advanced Warfare 2 coming up after this, then, right?
Yeah, and Advanced Warfare that had the multiplayer co-op aliens mode?
No, I think that was Ghosts.
Those Ghosts. So I wonder if, I mean, you gotta think, like, they're in space now, they're battling humans on space and maybe on other planets even?
Yeah, they show like
Do
Saturn
they finally
and stuff.
go,
Just become Halo.
yeah, just go, hey, now here's our sci-fi wrinkle,
Hey,
like,
it's just-
completely.
I think they tease zombie stuff, like the
Yeah,
fans of the second
Yeah,
and whatnot.
zombies will be in every game until the end of
But it's just a
time.
matter of if zombies are going to be floating through space.
Yeah.
The interesting thing here is the idea of them abandoning ghosts.
Did they announce that as like a trilogy or something? Did they? Or is
I
that
don't
Oh,
know.
it
I don't remember that
had a huge cliffhanger.
Yeah, oh, definitely that part. Yeah.
I mean, just like, this story is not even close to done. And
But that game was pretty much reviled by the multiplayer community, if I
Yeah.
remember correctly.
And they were promoting that campaign and that story so much, like, hey, it's the writer of Traffic. This is going to be serious. This is going to be great. I enjoyed the campaign of Ghosts. It was silly at times, but I had a good time going.
They had
through
that
the thing.
dog.
They had the space
I like
sequence.
the dog.
You remember the beginning, which was foreshadowing that
Oh
we
my gosh,
envisioned.
yeah, they totally did.
Yeah.
Which was like gravity kind of.
Yeah. But now I wonder if I would expect them to have some nod to some hypothetical fans of Ghosts out there. Like, you think it's technically going to be set in the same universe, just more years in the future?
I think so, yeah.
Why not?
It's all a continuation.
They'll have a
To
robot
degree.
dog.
Yeah, exactly. Or you're like find some memo that just has like details like, by the way, this is what happened to those dopey characters way back in the day.
Remember when the brother got dragged off? Well, this happened and he died.
Yeah, I would love to know what the hell they had.
Kind of like Will Smith's character in Independence
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
They just killed him off in a web post, like a little paragraph on the website.
That's what happened. I think there's gonna be like a plaque or like an image of Will Smith in that movie, just like the son will have it.
I would love it.
Because I think, God, they were on the fence with whether or not he was coming back. I think the offer was that he would be the president now, which would have been
Really?
awesome. Yeah.
Oh, how did you turn that down?
Yeah, how do you turn out being the president? But we should talk about other games people can play this week. Breezy reviewed Steven Sausage Roll.
Sure did.
It's an absurd game on Steam.
Yeah, it's been out for a couple weeks and it's slowly building up a following.
It's rolling downhill.
It's rolling and building up meat. I don't know. It's
Building up to meat.
It's good. It's good. It's a good game. I enjoyed it. It's a puzzle game where you roll sausages onto grills and you try to cook them.
I saw
But if you roll them onto multiple grills, they burn.
That sounds really simple and kind of dumb. But, like, the game is getting insane praise. Like, Jonathan Blow's like, oh, it's one of the greatest puzzle games ever made. And all these crazy puzzle game designers are hailing this as brilliant.
It is hard. I think I can totally see it as like the Jonathan Blow game, if that makes sense. Just because it's so like to be fair, like the puzzle design feels really compact and tight. And like each puzzle is completely different from the others, so you're not gonna like using the same tricks over and over again. You kind of have to sit down and think about how to make the sausages differently each time.
Okay.
This is what we do for a
And it
living.
has that Goat Simulator style, like, weird, quirky charm to it.
I mean, but it's a better route than just having, hey, rotate these blocks.
Oh, yeah, totally. I mean, you gotta stand out somehow, right?
Sausages is the secret to standing
Yeah,
out.
this is how you make the sausage.
Yeah. But
No,
even,
it was fun. I gave it an 8. You are this like little polygonal dude, and honestly, to mention like the graphics, no exaggeration, looked like it could be like early PS1. Like it's so bad, but in some way kind of charming, just because it's so simple.
is this why you wanted to play Intelligent Cube again? Did this game remind you of Intelligent Cube on the PlayStation
Was that
1?
before or after this?
I think it was around the same time. I think it triggered it in your brain.
Maybe. Although that game, they're not similar at all, to be fair.
Oh, really?
But I do like Intelligent Cube a lot.
Okay. I thought like slowly rotating these cubes
Well,
or these sausages.
Yeah, no, the mechanics are completely different. But so you control this little dude that walks around, and he has a basically a giant fork in his hand that he can use to move the sausages. And sometimes you can like push him against walls and stab him and move him them around that way.
Okay.
But the confines of the level are so small that just moving them around is kind of hard. If that makes sense.
Okay.
It's almost a game that you have to like go watch YouTube video or something to see how people are playing it.
Watch a let's play of a very slow, hard puzzle game. That's going to be the way to go for Steven
Well, or at least look at some images. Go read my review. Look at the trailer.
Also, a game you should check out just for the absurdity of it.
Let's talk about it.
Absolutely not. Let's get scenario. But Push Me, Pull You came out on PS4 this week. It's coming out on Steam and Mac and Linux and whatnot in the future. But it's very much in that vein of like Sports Friends and stuff that seems like Sony's been courting on the PlayStation 4. Where it's like, hey, if you want a good drunken party game, you put 4 players, even on 2 controllers, where people like share a controller. But it's this weird tug of war where you're kind of like a human centipede, cat dog type creature, just combined on both ends. It is absurd. You should absolutely look it up and look at like maybe even our test chamber of it. That'd be great. If you're in the mood for a crazy local multiplayer game, check out Push Me Pull You.
Centipede.
Yeah,
It's not what I'm thinking, is it?
so many people in the comment section, because it has like a cutesy kind of Katamari-esque
Okay,
vibe to
I'm
it.
thinking something completely different.
Well, it's not as
Well,
graphic
it's
as
still
Human
like-
Centipede, but it's still
2 human heads
it's
combined.
really disturbing. It's really effed up in a cutesy kind of way, but it's so funny reading the comments because people are like, one person commented, they said, looking at this game, I now realize that all video games are a sin. And like other people are like, I'm gouging my eyes out, I can't comprehend it. It is twisted in a charming way, so please look up footage of that. Also, real quick, out this week, Super Hot is out on Xbox One.
I started playing it.
Yeah, I
love it.
I love that game so much.
One thing I'll say is the resolution on your TV matters here because you know the bullets that you see in the distance that you're trying to track where you're moving
Yeah.
can be very maybe it won't show up on certain resolutions at like 720p. So I think it is probably there's more of an advantage for you on PC with those
Okay.
a higher resolution monitor or settings. Where it's
Interesting.
like every once in a while I'll see it and it'll just be like a couple pixels. Like Jay, he's like, which way is that trajectory? And I have to move a little and see where it's going. But as you know, as you play this game, time only moves when you move. So you're trying to
very
dodge
slowly.
You're trying to dodge
Yeah.
bullets, but there's still bullets being fired very fast. So you can see where it is, but then we can't really read where it is.
That's tough.
You're kind of like, am I going left or right? Left might be my brain, right might be safety. So yeah, that's tough. So I died a couple times just from that, but the game's brilliant.
It's so unique. It's so cool. It's one of my favorite experiences of the
FPS
year.
and puzzle,
Yeah, it's a lot of trial and error, I
but
suppose.
also skill based because you run out of ammo. And yeah, it's super cool.
I love you can throw a gun at a guy and then he drops his gun. You grab his gun out of
Mid-air,
and then
another guy.
shoot him in the head with his own gun.
It's really cool. It's great style. Yeah.
Yeah, and Reese, I don't think we ever talked about it, but what did you think of the story in Super Hot, or the small bit of narrative that
I love it.
weave you through? Right?
Yeah.
Super into it.
Did you finish it?
No. But I'm getting bits of it. You know, the
Yeah.
in DOS or whatever, the communicator in DOS.
It's weird.
The way
Yeah.
they laid that out,
whatever it is.
where you have to type, was really cool. And it types on screen. And then there's like this. I don't want to spoil anything, but I thought it was like the way that reaches a conclusion is interesting and kind of makes you think a little bit. So
A little bit. Yeah, I appreciate how weird it is. I don't know if they fully nail what they're going for,
But it starts out, we can talk about it. It starts out with 2 people talking. One guy recommending, hey, you got to check out this game, which is Super Hot. And you boot it up, and then, you're in your chat messenger, you close that, and you just boot that file, and you go and play the game, and then you come back and you start talking about it again.
yeah,
I think it's really cool.
It's
And it
very
gets-
meta.
It gets even weirder than that.
Yeah.
So
I can't
it'll be
wait.
interesting to see what you think.
I'm really excited to see that game in VR. I will absolutely play that again, and I don't know how the hell that's going to work, because like,
Is that something they're doing?
yeah, for sure. But when you move your head, time moves. Like when you're looking around, counts as movement. So really curious.
You're going to have to, like,
I don't know how the hell it's
You're
going
gonna
to work in VR.
muscles in your neck are just going to be gargantuan after playing this.
Perfect. It's like Kyle
You're
and
just going to be
Ray
like,
playing Decline.
paused perfectly like this. Like, okay, that guy over there. Alright, turn my head.
But it's only like what 3 hours long or something. It wasn't super long, so.
But there's like challenge modes and
Oh,
stuff.
there's a lot more stuff to it. But I'm just saying, if you're in the mood for like a bite-sized game, like this is a great like.
Really
You
not.
got a free evening, like I want to check out this cool game.
Right. Yes, absolutely. But hey, do you guys want to move on to some reader emails?
So,
Let's do it. And welcome back to the Air Force Show. We got some emails from folks that wrote into podcastgameformer.com. A bunch of good emails again. We thank everybody who writes in, even though we don't read them all in the air. I read through every one, I promise. Some I should share with you guys.
Sure.
There's some bizarre stuff, but usually pretty fun.
Alright, so what we got?
We got Andrew Jelly Hamilton from Ontario, Canada. Let's see, he's not going to throw away his shot. He writes in, why does the podcast panel, and in particular Ben Hansen, constantly refer to the other people on the podcast by their full names throughout the entirety of the podcast? It's downright bizarre the frequency full names are used throughout the piece. Does Ben Hansen walk up to Dan Tack and say, Dan Tack, what are your thoughts on this feature? I know it sounds like I'm complaining, but I've just been silent for too long.
Okay, you were doing that at GlitchCon this last weekend. You called someone like by his full name. I was like, you don't need to call him his full name. Like, you kept saying his full name.
Up at the panel?
No, just as we were walking to Buffalo Wild Wings. I was like, what are you doing? Like,
oh, Chris Webber.
Yeah,
some
you kept
fan.
calling him Chris Webber. You're like, hey, Chris Webber. And it's like, what are you
right.
doing?
I got multiple emails about this, but people saying, why do you call everybody their full name?
Stop it. Ben Hansen thinks he has power over you.
It's just
Say
certain.
full name.
I think Dan Tack I do a lot, just because I think I like his name.
Dan Tack has a good name for that, though.
Yeah, because I guess you could. I don't know. I'm split between calling him Dan or Tack, so I just go Dan Tack. But I don't think I call you Andrew Reiner. All you guys, I say your last name. So, Reiner, do you want to talk a little bit about GlitchCon this year?
It was fun. We played a full super replay of a game called Decipher 2, which never came out here in the States.
Yeah.
It was fun interacting with the crowd. It was a game where the crowd hung on every shot that we took. A lot of yelling at the screen, stuff like that, and us.
Tim
So that was fun.
came in to visit, which is nice.
Yeah, Tim Curry was there for the whole thing. We played from 8 p.m. till midnight, I guess.
Yeah.
And then Kim Wallace the next day had a panel that she did on diversity in games, which I unfortunately didn't get to see, but I heard it was very good.
Yeah, she did a good job. Everybody did. There's a lot of great panels there, just game development, inside information and whatnot. So definitely pay attention to it next year if you're interested in a cool gaming convention in the
And
cities.
the big thing is it is a gathering of Minnesota game developers showing off their indie games. It's held at the University of Minnesota, but run by this organization called Glitch.
Yeah.
Buffalo Wild Wings across the street.
You've got to go. You've got to go with Chris Webber.
Gotta
Hey,
check this out.
hey, Wade, producer at the booth, do you have any ballpark time frame for when maybe some of that footage will be released of our panel?
Hopefully soon, some of the capture stuff. Some issues with the capture.
Oh, great. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
Okay. Look forward to that, everybody. Some issue-filled stuff. All right. Jake Z writes in and says, why isn't the Ratchet & Clank franchise as revered as the Zelda franchise? It has similar Metacritic scores, but is talked less about as part of gaming canon. Is it because games media people are older and grew up with Zelda and not Ratchet & Clank? What are your thoughts?
It wasn't made by Nintendo.
Similar Metacritic. I think it's not as old,
Not as good.
for one. It's not as different either. Like, Ratchet & Clank hasn't changed or evolved as much. I love Ratchet & Clank.
What do you, I mean, they have their twist. They have like the All for One. They have.
You get to fly in space.
Yeah, you get the tower defense stuff.
I
Like,
mean, they're
I
at the
think the
core,
basic
they're
core
very
formula, though.
different games. One is a run and gun shooter with a mascot and a robot, and the other one is this dungeon spelunking adventure. And I think people gravitate more towards the adventure, right? Like,
but he has an interesting point as far as like the people covering games. You think we're all just nostalgic over early Zelda games, whereas like the next generation of gaming journalists are going to look back on Ratchet & Clank for the PS2 as like, oh, that was the first game I
maybe
played.
it's. I mean, it's more what system you grew up with, then, right? I guess it's like Sonic versus Mario in a capacity to a degree.
Although these two I've never thought of comparing necessarily.
Yeah, but I mean that's two different systems. Like, you're not playing Zelda on your PlayStation.
I mean, how many things are as revered as Zelda, though, is too?
Yeah, that's upper echelon.
What else we got? Mario, Half-Life. What's on that Zelda pantheon? Okay. I guess I'll go along with you. We'll see how
It
the new one
just
is.
spawned an entire genre of the game.
Yeah, you know, take it or leave it.
Popularization.
Metroid.
Yeah.
But I guess I mean you look at the new generation. I guess you could say to go back to an earlier thing on the podcast. Uncharted is huge.
Yeah.
For PlayStation, that's bigger than Ratchet by far. God of War.
Elder Scrolls, good choice. I actually, I heard the new Ratchet & Clank was the best selling or the fastest selling for the entire series, and I just actually finished that this last weekend. That is it's a good game. As a fun, solid, gamey game.
Interesting that did that well, and we just totally tanked.
Apparently, the movie is abysmal, which is so confusing because the clips from the movie that are in the game, like they seem fine.
I thought they were good.
They seem inoffensive completely.
What did Kyle say about his daughter seeing it? Just like she didn't move, didn't even react to the movie. It's just like,
It was like, oh, I liked it.
She's like mirrored Dan Tack's facial expressions in the back of the theater the entire time. All right, Ramses from Los Angeles writes in and
What's Dan Tack's
says,
last name?
forget, tech mechanic, I think. Ramsey's from Los Angeles writes in and says, wondering what your thoughts are on Zelda and the NX being delayed to 2017. And also Josh Jones writes in and says, on a scale of 1 to 10, how hyped are you for the NX? He's at an 8. So those two...
I am highly unsurprised, actually, about the delay of Zelda.
No,
Yeah,
I am,
all side that up.
I thought NX would be this year, though. I thought
so
it'd be
too,
this
yeah.
holiday, and it all made sense with Zelda not coming out in 2015 like they wanted to, or whatever.
that they promised repeatedly in that video. It's all surreal to me because of that video where like it was a joke, a big recurring thing, and it's like, no, hand to God or you can kill me where I stand. It'll come out in 2015.
But yeah, I mean, I was shocked, and I think it's a monumental, huge disaster for Wii U fans. I mean, that game just slipping out, and that was, for a lot of people I talked to, one of our guys in production bought a Wii U just for Zelda.
Oh,
and is now
You
very
could have
much
skipped
like,
an entire console.
yeah,
There's some
I
great
didn't need
stuff
that
on
system.
there.
Pac-Man 3's really good.
Yeah, don't forget about Splatoon.
Yeah, so I'm disappointed. My hype level is through the roof for any new technology. Like, I love
I'm
new tech,
with you.
and Nintendo always does weird, crazy gimmicks.
And that's why I'm so much
curious
more
what they're gonna do.
Yeah, I'm so much more excited for the NX than, if they announced the Xbox 2 or whatever the hell they call it, just because it's like, okay, I think I have a rough ballpark of what the next Xbox
more
is
power.
going to be. But knowing there's some mysterious gimmick or Nintendo thinks they have something up their sleeve, it's going to be this bizarre curveball that we're going to be talking about for weeks after they finally unveil it.
I don't know how hyped I am for the actual console because I don't know anything about it, but I probably am like 8 or 9, just hyped to know about it. Like, I'm excited to know.
Okay.
I'm hyped for the announcement.
I'm also very hyped for the announcement. Bert, are you at least excited?
No, I'm always curious to see, like, are they going to pretend like third party matters again? Are they just going to go,
Or do they have
yeah, we don't need that anymore. We're just going to do what we do. I'm super curious.
It seems like step one for Nintendo, no matter what, before you have hardware or anything, you should go out and talk to all third parties about what they want and factor that into your plans. I try to line it up in a way where they can bring their other games from Xbox One, PS4 over to your system.
It certainly seemed like that was their push with the Wii U. Because remember, before that came out, the Darksiders 2 team was talking about, they're actually being pretty open and talking to us, and they want this on the review. But then they came out
really underpowered.
right. Yeah.
And made a lot of problems for a lot of teams.
And you can't port a game like Call of Duty that has online infrastructure. You know what I mean? Like, their online is a step in the right direction, but it wasn't
not
where it
at all.
needed to be if that's what they were going for.
Yeah, and now we have the Nintendo account and all that stuff. So I encourage people who are excited for the NX to go back and listen to that conversation we had with Andy McNamara weeks ago on this podcast, because I think that was very interesting. Let's see, we got Paul Sanchez writing in from Fresno, California. He says he loves the podcast and he's been listening since the reboot. Thank you, Paul. Simple question. Do you prefer in open world games to have the edge of the playing area being tall and passable mountains, or water as far as you can see? P.S. Thin mints are great. You're right. Thank you.
They are.
Water or mountains in your open world edges? What do you like?
Isn't it nice to have a little bit of both? So you're not just on an island. Everything's
But if you had to choose all one or all the other,
Water, because I question if I can get into those mountains. Whereas
Okay.
water, sometimes you just look at it and go, nope, there's nothing out there. But other times you'll try to swim out there and then you hit that invisible wall and turn back and you're like, you never tried again.
just do the Just Cause or Far Cry thing, like I'm just gonna keep swimming forever and see what
Yeah,
can possibly
but
happen.
mountains, you're like, okay, maybe I can do that.
I like the impenetrable fog, or like Mad Max did a really cool thing where it's just like drive into the wasteland and good luck, dude.
Yeah.
And I love having like it was an edge, it was a boundary in Mad Max, but it was still a soft edge. Like you could feel like you could game it a little bit, like maybe I can get farther this time. So that's every world just needs to go
Fallout
crazy. Like,
4 had a similar thing. There's sol radiation.
oh, is that what it was?
Yeah,
Okay.
you can go beyond the map.
Alright, there we go. Hey, speaking of Fallout 4, Robert Real Talk writes in and says, am I the only one who thinks Nick Valentine is awesome? Quote, I just told him I was ready to explode and started going beep bop boop.
What?
He likes Nick Valentine. And
He
wants to
just
He did, yeah, Robert Real Talk did.
Man.
Do you think Nick Valentine is underrated as a character?
No, I think he's the most talked about character in that game.
Alright.
And Fallout 4 is a big game. So, but in terms of the larger scope of characters in the industry, yeah, maybe he's not revered as much as he probably should be because he is written very well. And his missions were some of the best.
And his voice actor is in the Sounder too.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
right.
right.
Who's his voice?
Steven Russell.
Oh, is it
Oh,
really?
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Wow.
Also, Jar Jar Binks in Phantom Menace.
Is that right?
No.
Oh, fun fact. Fun fact. Also related to Dishonored 2's voice cast, my favorite actor that I could never ever remember the name of.
Sam Rockwell.
Thank you, Sam Rockwell. There's nobody that I like more in movies and can never remember that name. Am I alone on that?
Just
Wait, he was
super
in
boring.
Moon.
He's in
We're
Moon.
connecting all these dots.
That's exactly right. Directed by Duncan Jones, who we talked to in the upcoming interview. It's one big happy family. Hey, Ben Hansen, GI Crew. I was wondering if you could identify each person in your group by their personality, genre-wise. I think Ben Hansen would be the simulator guy, since he likes Stardew Valley. Dan Tack would be the RPG guy, given his love for Dark Souls and Darkest Dungeon. I'm curious to know what each of you would identify as and why. Any racing, sports, or puzzle guys out there? Thanks, says Tyler from Boise, Idaho.
Mercado's the racing guy.
Yep, he's also a sports guy.
Yeah.
Bert's your sports shooter guy.
Shooter. An open world.
Okay.
GTAs.
I feel like there is like an interesting graph, like like the skill trees.
We need our beats, right? We need
Yeah.
people that cover certain things, so we have somebody who's knowledgeable about every particular genre.
Yeah. Who do you think, Reiner? I think you're a good case of like you're covering out your spider webs, connecting
Reiner,
every
Western
point on that.
Yeah, you and Court you're very versatile.
Yeah,
you
play
play
it
a
all.
little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Maybe MOBAs, esport wise, that's the gap in your little giant chart.
No, I've been trying to fill that in a little.
Oh, really?
I am somewhat good player at Clash Royale now. I play
Okay.
it all the time.
All right.
I,
Hottest esport around.
I've been watching some League of Legends stuff. I mean, it's esports is taking over. Like it's growing. I got to get to know that because it's such a big part of the industry.
Right.
But play Dota and stuff like that, probably not as much as Tact, but I will try it out just to know it, just to know terminology and what it is. So
Yeah.
I don't want any gaps in my
Right.
my expertise.
It feels gross to have those gaps. I would actually like to visually represent Game Informer staff's interest in genres. That could be interesting, just have like a landing page that shows everybody's
That'd be
tastes
cool.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Make up
That's
pie
interesting
chart
that
for
Tack, he thought RPG.
Yeah.
I don't think that
I
right
think
away.
Kim
Like,
and Joe would have
strategy, like
Or
MMO.
games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He obviously likes those as well, but
Right.
he plays shooters. He's a decent shooter
I think
player,
his
so.
favorite games just involve like Excel spreadsheets of numbers.
Anything that's hard,
a lot of number crunching.
yeah, any kind of
Yeah.
emotional storytelling, I've just seen him shut down.
Yeah, like BioWare, I don't think is.
Yeah.
I don't know, because he's like a huge Final Fantasy IV fan. Like he does like those RPGs.
But he probably likes it because of the combat and stuff like that.
I don't know.
Ask him who his favorite character is in the game.
You remember we were debating the top 10 Final Fantasy villains, and he was losing his mind in our Slack conversation about this one villain, Golbez. What's the Final
Yeah, but
Fantasy
it
IV?
could be because of like an AoE attack or something.
He had a really cool finish.
Mike Ogdeath from Houston writes in, and he's wondering if when we travel to see a game early in development on a cover story trip or otherwise, if it dampens our enthusiasm. Seeing a game that we're excited for, like in a super rough state.
Only if it sucks. Not usually, actually.
We should point out, Dishonored 2, that we cut out in November, was in really good shape.
Yeah.
Surprisingly competent.
Yeah. That's a good point. Sometimes you do see it and it's pretty rough, and I can't think more offhand, but I think we're kind of used to seeing games that are in rough shape, and so a lot of times they just turn out well, and so you kind of like take that with a grain of salt, knowing that like, well, the team's still working on it, so like obviously you can kind of like see past the gray box.
And we usually choose games from teams that have a proven track record because of that, right? Like,
Yeah.
We do have conversations in the office when it comes to review time. If someone played like 3 hours of a game for preview, if that, they know too much, if that magic's kind of gone for those 3 hours, we will try to assign someone else to that review just so they're going in fresh. It's like seeing a movie trailer that goes on too long and you think you've seen too much of the movie.
Yeah, but seeing like, games and cover pitches will never dampen enthusiasm to be like, oh, now I've seen a super rough version of this level, and now I see a level in the real thing, I'll just always think back to that.
It could dampen my enthusiasm of, I don't think I want to play that, that's not my thing,
Yeah, but it's like, does it...
but those usually aren't on our covers.
Right, yeah, we get 12 a year.
Yeah, always
Try to make the
interesting.
biggest ones we can.
Yeah, too. Usually it's like what we see is usually pretty different than what's in the final game, because sometimes we see like an amalgamation.
Sometimes.
Depends on how early, like Bioshock Infinite, for example, like that game changed quite a bit since we first saw it. So like the version we saw didn't really exist in the final game.
Yeah, but it's like, when you're making chocolate chip cookies, if you look in through the oven and see them when they're halfway done, you still know eventually it's going to be a delicious chocolate chip cookie. It's like, oh, this looks like crap, it's all runny, blah.
The vision was there, their ideas were there, it was just fine-tuning that.
Yeah, I think like the most anticipated game that I went on a cover story trip for, like Phantom Pain. But I think of like the Mass Effect 3 cover story trip. And there was a point when I saw on the wall they had the outline of the whole story. And so that kind of dampened my enthusiasm a little bit, because like, well, I feel like, Yeah, but not the ending, no. But I remember looking at that and being like, I should memorize this just so I know roughly how this game's going to play out. And they had, like, the big chapters up there. And I remember I made a little, what do you call it, mnemonic in my head where the chapters were GC, GC. So it was like GameCube, GameCube. That was, like, my way of, like, memorizing the story structure for Mass Effect. Because, like, it broke down into, the first part is about the genophage, then it's the Citadel, then it's the Geth, then it's Cerberus. Like, that's the way Mass Effect 3 is structured, according to BioWare's wall.
And then there's just blank pieces of paper that were colored red, green, and blue.
And a bunch of question marks. Come up with ending quickly. We only have a couple months left. Yeah. All right. Anyways, let's see. We got Joshua in Irvine. He writes in and says, "Your cover art for the Final Fantasy 15 issue is amazing." Sorry, Bertz. I know you're the biggest fan. How do I go about getting a print to hang on my wall? Question number 1.
That's a good question.
Is that a thing people can do?
We sometimes do prints and sell them. Yeah, that's something we need to discuss, but we rarely do. But we did do it for Bioshock Infinite.
Yeah, there's been several games in the past.
The Sam Prell, not Sam Prell, Sam Spratt, Sam Prell writer, joystick, and other outlets, but Sam Spratt did the greatest characters of all time or whatever that we did.
Yeah.
We sold those. That sold pretty well, actually.
So if people want a cover, is there a path for them now?
No, not
if-
individual.
If there's a
issues,
groundswell, then we'll put them out.
Okay.
That would be a good one. I love that cover.
Yeah, I do
That
too.
was really cool.
As a follow-up question, what is your personal favorite cover art that you've seen since your time, or during your time at Game Informer?
It's hard to beat that, like Bioshock Infinite.
Interesting.
Cover art.
I really like the Dishonored 2 Emily cover art,
Yeah.
with the Viking look with the old-timey magazine.
Are you thinking that's like your favorite?
No. I
Just
think I think South Park. I really like just because it's so strange
Okay.
to see South Park on a cover. But I think my favorite is probably Far Cry 4.
I was gonna mention
That was
Far Cry 4 because that was up there a lot.
Yeah. I like how.
Dishonored 2 had really cool cover art. The mask.
Yeah.
There's
that one's pretty cool.
the black and white Batman Arkham City, I think it was. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Like,
That was before my time, but yeah,
Batman and
really great. Reiner, you only have a couple of days from can't pick from actually.
No, Bioshock. I mean, putting that together, I had a couple conversations with Ken Levine on the phone about the direction that we wanted to go with those covers. It's Ken Levine's idea through and through, but just hearing him talk about like Saturday Evening Post and the Rockwell stuff, and I was just like, I'll go talk to Andy about this. I don't know. And he's talking about like fake cigarette ads on the back and all that. I was just like, we'll see. But it ended up, once we finally saw it, it was just like, this is the most stunning stuff. And we did one before. Three of them. I think
There's
there's four.
they're all
Yeah.
great. All three of them are great. It's before my time, but there's actually a video in the hub for Bioshock Infinite about you guys talking about designing that cover and whatnot. So yeah, I really want to learn more about it. Let's see. Seth from Cottage Grove, Oregon writes in and says, "Hey GI crew, I was a little late to the PS4 party, so recently I've been playing